the culture of openness and understanding is there in the workplace, then it gets drawn out naturally.
Nobody in the crowd could have predicted what was about to unfold. Prince William didn't just walk onto the stage with his family, he stepped into history. With a single sentence, he shifted the royal order in a way that left the world stunned. Cameras clicked furiously, faces froze in disbelief. And at the center of it all, a young girl in a modest dress, taking her first step into the spotlight, Princess Charlotte. What William announced that day wasn't just symbolic. It cracked. The very foundation of centuries-old royal tradition and the aftershocks are still being felt. That moment wasn't just a family photo op. It was the beginning of a seismic shift inside the monarchy, the royal household. Released a statement shortly after a rare move, confirming that something serious had changed. Power was being realigned. A new force was rising from within the family itself. What does this mean for the throne? And for those clinging to power behind palace walls? Let's dig deeper. Do you follow the royal family? Let us know in the comments. And if this news surprised you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. The setting couldn't have been more ordinary. A breezy afternoon at Kensington Palace, the kind of event where smiles are rehearsed and every gesture is carefully staged. Most thought it would be business as usual. George's wave, Charlotte's grin, a few speeches. But William had other plans. His demeanor focused, his tone firm. No prepared script. No polite small talk. Just raw sincerity. That alone set the room on edge. As William addressed the crowd, you could hear the change in his voice. Catherine stood nearby, calm and steady, her hand gently on Charlotte's shoulder. George watched, quietly, already showing signs of the king he'll one day be. And then, it happened. William spoke the words that would ripple through the royal household. We are turning the page. Honoring our past but preparing our future. He evoked the memory of Queen Elizabeth II, praising her unshakable devotion to service. But then he made it personal. Fighting back emotion, William declared, "My daughter, Princess Charlotte, will begin official royal duties not years from now, but now." The gasps were instant. Phone shot up. Journalists scrambled. Palisades froze. This wasn't planned. This wasn't expected. But it was real. The monarchy was pivoting, and a young girl was now at the center of it. Despite her age, Charlotte didn't flinch. She stood poised. Calm, her parents' presence behind her sent an even louder message. She's ready, and so are they. Yet while William's family stood united, there were notable absences. King Charles, silent. Camilla, missing. Their absence spoke louder than any statement. For months, quiet rumors had swirled through palace halls, whispers of resistance to change, tension behind closed doors. Suddenly, it all made sense. This moment wasn't random. It was a torch being passed. Not officially, but undeniably. Polls were already leaning in William and Catherine's favor, their popularity soaring, their vision modern, relatable, and deeply rooted in public service. Unlike the stiff rituals of the past, their every move felt fresh, and Charlotte's inclusion. It was the clearest signal yet that tradition would no longer hold the monarchy hostage. Back-channel reports started surfacing. William had been holding quiet talks with Commonwealth leaders. Catherine had stepped into key strategic roles, ones typically reserved for senior royals. Meanwhile, whispers emerged that Charlotte had already joined media training sessions a full year ahead of when George had started. Coincidence? Doubtful. Inside the palace, not everyone was happy. Camilla, in particular, was watching closely. She'd spent years battling for acceptance. Path to queenship hadn't been easy. So, when William skipped a major royal meeting to visit a children's cancer ward, overshadowing one of the king's key appearances, eyebrows were raised. Was it a quiet protest? or a symbolic reordering of royal priorities. The move didn't go unnoticed. While George remained next in line, Charlotte's rising public role was starting to make waves. Her growing comfort at royal events earned praise from royal watchers, with many drawing comparisons to her late grandmother, Princess Diana. It wasn't just about charm, it was about presence. Charlotte was starting to carry herself like someone born to lead. William's declaration made one thing crystal clear: the future of the monarchy wasn't waiting. It was already here. The king may still hold the crown, but the power dynamic had begun shifting. And with Charles skipping major engagements due to fatigue, questions mounted. Was he quietly stepping back? Was this part of a larger plan? Behind the palace gates, the mood was shifting. Charles, known for his precision and control, was faltering. Insiders suggested burnout. Others suspected deeper issues. But while aides dismissed rumors, one thing was evident: the king was retreating. And into that vacuum, William stepped, not with arrogance, but with purpose. Sources close to the palace revealed that Charles, despite finally ascending the throne, felt increasingly sidelined. Wherever William and Catherine went, the crowd followed. His son's popularity was eclipsing his own, and Camilla knew it. The queen consort, still a controversial figure in many eyes, felt her grip on public favor slipping, and behind the curtain, a strategy was unfolding. Whispers pointed back to Queen Elizabeth herself, who had allegedly urged Charles to prepare a seamless transition. Camilla, however, resisted. She had fought too hard to fade into the background now. To her, William and Catherine weren't successors. They were competitors. But resistance wasn't enough to stop the tide. Charles's absence only amplified William's momentum. Events that once centered around the king now revolved around William and his young family. Royal concerts, public tributes, all eyes were on them. And in one unforgettable moment, it all came together. On the lawns of Kensington, William took the microphone. He spoke of legacy, of duty, of a crown that must evolve. "This isn't about abandoning tradition," he said. "It's about honoring it through growth." Then came the moment he introduced Charlotte. She will begin her official duties, he announced, and help shape a new royal future. The crowd erupted. Photos of Charlotte standing tall beside her father filled headlines worldwide. This wasn't just a ceremonial debut, it was a statement. William wasn't just preparing his daughter, he was redefining the meaning of leadership in the House of Windsor. Catherine, ever composed, stood beside them, a quiet yet powerful presence. And just behind her, George watched with the focused calm of a future monarch. In that moment, they weren't just a royal family, they were a united front, rewriting history in real time. But not everyone celebrated. Inside the palace, Camilla was furious. Charlotte's rising popularity threatened her fragile standing. She convened private meetings hoping to reassert control. But Charles refused to intervene. "Let it unfold," he reportedly said. "It's already begun." And with that, Camilla found herself increasingly alone. Even palace staff, once loyal to Charles and Camilla, began gravitating toward William and Catherine. Foreign diplomats followed suit, and the press. They were already calling Kensington the center of the new monarchy. Public sentiment had spoken, a new royal power was emerging. And at the heart of it all, Catherine, her influence wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. But it was real. Years of preparation, quiet observation, and genuine empathy had built a deep well of public trust. Unlike Camilla, Catherine didn't seek approval, she earned it. Her warmth during hospital visits, her gentle rapport with children. These weren't photo ops, they were moments that touched people. Catherine understood something fundamental. Leadership isn't just seen, it's felt. Privately, she and William planned carefully. They studied public opinion, tracked media reactions, and prepared for every next step. Catherine even commissioned polling to measure support for Charlotte's role. And the results were clear. The people were ready. For Catherine, this isn't about power. It's about stability. Legacy. A monarchy that can endure not because of bloodlines alone, but because of purpose. Charlotte, she believes, represents that future. A leader built on integrity, not entitlement. Once dismissed for her common background, Catherine now commands the room. Not with titles, but with earned respect. As the royal family gathered, once more, the path ahead was undeniable. Charlotte's resemblance to both Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana was striking. But more than that, her quiet poise spoke volumes. She wasn't just playing dress-up. She was stepping into a role that would help shape the monarchy's next chapter. William and Catherine aren't waiting for the future. They're building it, not with dramatic speeches, but with steady, deliberate choices. And as Charlotte and George grow into their own, the message is clear. The crown is evolving. The monarchy isn't fading. It's being reborn. The only question left is, will the old guard step aside or be swept away by history itself? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think truly holds the crown's future?